We are human beings and God has gifted us with the skill of forgetting. Now you might be thinking it is a bad skill. No, don't just think about all those good memories. There are bad memories also in our life, and if we carry everything throughout the life, it becomes a mess. That way, it is a gift. But what if a witness forgets something inside the court? Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Indian Evidence Act, we are focusing on chapter 10, which is all about examination of witness, covered between section 135 to 166. And in that series, this is my 16th video where we are going to understand a very interesting concept, refreshing the memory of witness, covered between section 159 to 161. Usually I start with Bare Act provision and then get into chart, but here for a change I will explain all the three sections with three different charts in the same slide, and then I will read out the Bare Act provision, and finally we have two very interesting case laws. With that, I am taking you to slide number 1 where we will see the chart. As far as refreshing memory is concerned, under Indian Evidence Act, we have three major sections, section 159, 160 and 161. Now I have three boxes here to make all of them clear with three different charts, and all the charts start with a black box. That is how you can understand. Now let us try understand them one by one. Now you need to understand refreshing memory is the witness has forgotten something, and with the help of something we are refreshing his memory. Now how is that done? Let's first understand with the help of section 159. Section 159 helps the witness to refresh the memory by four different types of documents. Now it starts saying a witness can refresh his memory with the help of. Now there are four different types of documents that I have made in four different boxes, two in green, two in orange. Now two in green are those documents which are made by the witness himself, and two other which are in orange color are the documents which are made by others. Now let's try understand one by one with the help of illustration also. The first box says written document made by him during transaction. Here is a document which is made by the witness himself during such transaction happened. Imagine A was sitting behind a tree and there was a murder happened in that particular garden or somewhere. Now he was sitting behind the tree. He couldn't shout or do anything because he was scared. There were so many people who came and targeted one person, and A thought it will be risky if he shouts. So what does he do? He had one diary in his hand and he writes every single detail of that murder, whatever he has seen there. Now the murder has happened in front of him, the transaction has happened in front of him, and he is documenting that there only during the transaction itself. Now the document is made by him during the transaction. Now that can be used to refresh his memory in later stages when the court is asking question on that particular transaction. The second box says written document made by him when transaction was fresh in his mind. Now what happened? Here A saw the murder and then he immediately goes to home and he writes every single detail of whatever he has seen. Now the transaction is fresh in his mind, but he has not written the details during transaction like the first box. Here he is writing it later, but when the transaction is still fresh in his mind. Now if such document is there, that can be used to refresh his memory. The third and fourth one needs to be understood along with the first and second one. Here what happens? The document is not made by A. Imagine along with A there was someone else by name B behind that tree, and both of them witnessed the murder, and if they have written, if B has written during the transaction itself and A has read it, and if A felt everything is correct, in that case that document can be used. Or B then went to home and immediately wrote everything in diary. After that A read it and A feels that everything is correct. In that case also that document can be used to refresh his memory. Now first two are made by him, the last two are made by others. In first two he has made it, he is confirming. In the last two somebody else has made it who was part of the transaction, but then the person who is the witness, he has also read and it was correct when he was reading it. Now all of that documents can be utilized to refresh the memory of the witness. Now there are certain conditions that we'll understand with the last three boxes. What does the last three boxes of first chart discuss? It is discussing about the original and copy of the document. Now, if you have the original document, you need to produce the original document. If you don't have the original document, then you have to give sufficient reasons and satisfy the court that why the original document is not available. And if you convince the court and if court satisfied, in that case, court may allow the copy of such document for the purpose of refreshing the memory. Now, this is all you need to remember as far as section 159 is concerned. And here one last aspect that you need to remember is an expert may refresh his memory by reference to his professional documents under section 159. Like for example, a doctor has given medical certificate. Now he gives 1,000 medical certificates. Here in a particular case, if he has to recall what exactly he has told in that particular case, you have to give that certificate and allow him to refresh his memory. That is what we need to understand. Whatever professional document that he has given, that he can read through and refresh his memory. That is what we need to understand from section 159. Now I have taken the example of Mr. A and B, but it mostly happens with every witness. Like for example, a police has recorded everything and he is attending lot of cases. Now for every case, for him preparation is required. For such requirement, he has to refer the earlier document that he has made. Now those documents that we are referring, so it is not just for a common witness, it is for police, professionals, etc. also applicable, which is what we need to remember. Then comes section 160, which is the continuation of section 159. There we are helping the witness to refresh his memory with the help of a document. And what if he is unable to recall even after seeing such documents? In that case, section 160 comes into picture, which is a very easy section. It says, and I have made it a very simple chart, in case witness if fails in recollection even after seeing such documents as discussed under section 159. Now see the beauty, it continues from section 159. There we have given documents to recollect the facts, but the witness is unable to refresh his memory. In that case, he is allowed to testify on the correctness of such document. It is sufficient that if he says that the document is correct, if he testifies that much, that itself is sufficient as far as section 160 is concerned. Like for example, there is an illustration of a bookkeeper who keeps a book. Now there is a lot of transaction made by him. He cannot remember all of that transaction. But if he says that this is the correct document that we have used, this is the document where we have made all the transaction, if he testifies that, that itself is sufficient as far as section 160 is concerned. It is not necessary that you have to refresh all his memory. If he is saying that the document is correct, that itself is sufficient, which is what you need to understand from section 160. The last section, section 161, discusses about the two important rights of the adverse party as against section 159 and 160. The first right is the adverse party may demand for the production of such document. Now, the adverse party will definitely demand for such document. However, that needs to be original or not, that court will decide as far as section 159 is concerned. I have already explained. It needs to be original, but if the party proves that with sufficient reasons that the original is not available, in that case, if court is satisfied, it can allow a copy also. But the adverse party can demand for production of such document. That is the first right available with the adverse party under section 161. And as against section 159 and 160, the adverse party can conduct cross-examination. That is the second right available with the adverse party. These are the two important rights available with the adverse party as far as refreshing memory is concerned. Now, before getting into two important case laws, I will quickly read through the three important provisions here, that is section 159, 160 and 161. And section 159 deals with refreshing memory. Now, why am I reading out the bare act provision also? Because sometimes people are traveling, they may not be able to read it. So I usually read out the provision also to help those people, because I used to listen lot of class while I was riding. So that way I think of that part and read it out. And if anybody doesn't want, you can straight away get into case laws. The section reads, a witness may, while under examination, refresh his memory by referring to any writing made by himself at the time of the transaction concerning which he is questioned, or so soon afterwards that the court considers it likely that the transaction was at that time fresh in his memory. So these are the first two transactions that we read, which are made by him. That is what we understood. The document was made by him. Then it continues, the witness may also refer to any such writing made by any other person and read by the witness within the time aforesaid. That means the first two part, whatever we are understood, the same continues here also. If when he read, he knew it to be correct. When he read, he understood that it was correct. Those are the four aspects we have understood with 4 boxes. Now, when witness may use copy of document to refresh memory. That is the other part we have to understand, and it reads, whenever a witness may refresh his memory by reference to any document, he may, with the permission of the court, remember it is always with the permission of the court, refer to a copy of such document, provided the court be satisfied that there is sufficient reason for the non-production of the original. That is an important proviso you need to remember. Then an expert may refresh his memory by referring to the professional documents. That is what the last part says. With that, let's get into section 160. Section 160 is on testimony to facts stated in document mentioned in section 159. Now, here is the continuation of section 159, and it says, a witness may also testify to facts mentioned in any such document as in mentioned in section 159, although he has no specific recollection of the facts themselves, if he is sure that the facts were correctly recorded in the document. Now, here we are seeing the correctness of the document, and that is sufficient as far as section 160 is concerned. And here is an illustration which says, a bookkeeper may testify to facts recorded by him in books regularly kept in the course of business if he knows that the books were correctly kept, although he has forgotten the particular transaction entered. Now that is sufficient, which is what we have to understand from section 160. Section 161 is about right of adverse party as to writing used to refresh memory. I told there are two important rights. Any writing referred to under the provision of the two last preceding sections, that means section 159 and 160, must be produced and shown to the adverse party if he requires it. There is a discretion available with the adverse party that they may ask for the production of the document or they may skip it. So if they require, they can ask for it or they may skip it. Now such party may, if he pleases, cross-examine the witness thereupon. Under 159 and 160, whatever happened, the adverse party has the right to cross-examine on those aspects, which is what we need to understand. As I said, I have two important case laws, and the first one is State of Karnataka versus Yarappa Reddy. Here what happened, in a particular place, there was a mention that a sub-inspector asked for some document for refreshing his memory, and the adverse counsel has objected, and after that the lower court has not recorded whether such objection was sustained or not. Now if it was sustained, that was a wrong thing by the court, and Supreme Court said that as per section 159, such refreshing memory is available with the witness and that needs to be allowed. Now here we don't know what did lower court do, but they have not recorded correctly whether it was sustained or not, and if it was sustained, that was a wrong thing, which is what Supreme Court said. So refreshing memory is required, especially for people like sub-inspector, etc. They keep coming as witness for several cases, so there is a chance of forgetting or confusion. So the relevant documents need to be given to them so that they can refer it and refresh their memory, which is what we need to understand. The next case law is State of Andhra Pradesh versus Ganeshwara Rao, where an approver gave witness as under section 159 and 160, and the accused said that this is the abuse of section 159 and 160, but Supreme Court clarified that this is not abuse, this is the right available under the procedure of Indian Evidence Act under section 159 and 160, and upheld that refreshing memory along with the documents is always available. That is what we need to understand from this particular case law.
The race ends only when you finish the track. So always remember to do your work. With that, I'm concluding this session. Please subscribe our channel. Please like, share and comment our videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.